pesticides used in the country. There is no mention in the Economic Survey of India as to how many chemicals are used. And yesterday I was at a seminar in Vigyan Bhavan called Rural Prosperity Through Agriculture, in which it was said that if the chemicals were not used, this country would be short of about 80 million tons of food grains. People don't recognize, and this is all related to our psychology, that they are harmful, they cause cancer. Many of these things are myths. I don't deny that they do occur, but the kind of psychology or the psyche created against them is I think, exaggerated. And IPM tries to emphasize minimum use of chemicals, but you can't help it. Unless, for instance, if we are having headache, or if we are having a minor ailment, we might go to a yoga guru. But if we are suffering from typhoid, we will never go to a yoga guru. We'll buy medicine to cure ourselves. Likewise, for plants, there are certain situations where you will definitely need to use chemicals to suppress. Otherwise, the farmer whose entire, for instance, next year's livelihood depends on this crop, how can you expect him to survive? I mean, it is our impression as, let us say, as an urbanized citizen or whatever, which we are trying to impose on a rural kind of a person whose life depends on his yields coming from these kinds of inputs. So what I'm trying to say here is that we have so many components of improved technology which can add up to more than 100% increase in yield, but all of these are not available to the farmer. We have to see that the right kind of things are available in our system. Many things are government controlled, and timely availability is by itself a very, very big factor. We were in our project that we had to suddenly start in the month of May, and June was the month for planting. We found that the basal dose of fertilizer which was to be applied to the crop did not arrive until mid-July. And since it is thoroughly under the government control, either you have to buy in black market, or you have to go outside the state, get it by clandestine means, or else you have to suffer. And these are the kinds of things, and truckloads of fertilizers are crossing borders between states in a clandestine manner because of the lack of availability of the right type of fertilizer and so forth. So I think these are major issues that we don't recognize. We only look at figures. So much fertilizer is available. So much fertilizer can be made available. Things like that. But I think there are several issues that need to be addressed. And the same is the story with Kharif pulses also, where the increase can be more than 100%, but for the limiting availability of the inputs. Seed, I have brought up this slide because when I was the director of the Indian Institute of Pulses Research in Kanpur, we used to be given an indent by states, different states in the country, how much breeder seed they want, so that it can be put into the seed production chain from breeder to foundation, foundation to certified, and from certified to be distributed to the farmers. I used to produce the breeder seed, and 90% of that seed used to keep lying with me because it was not taken up or off-taken by the concerned departments. They would not come and lift it. They would not come and put it into the chain for seed production for the farmer. But it perhaps helped us a good deal. We changed the system. In fact, we didn't follow the system. And what I did was, all the breeder seed that we had, we used to pass it on to the farmers free of cost for demonstrations and for field experiments. And I can tell you that I had the opportunity to run into two places where two volunteers, let me say, were parked, and they were educated from IITs, and they were doing social service there. They would pick up the seed, they would help the farmers to grow them the right type, and in case of pigeon pea, for instance, which has a very long stalk, They even converted the harvested stock into baskets, and they were able to help the farmers sell the baskets and earn extra bucks, things like that. So the story in this country is that for inputs like breeder seed of bajra, they don't even know what the characteristics of that seed would be or characteristics of the plants that come out of that seed would be. And they simply buy the seed on the assumption that the truthfully labeled seed is being given. I can tell you that in pulses, for instance, in black gram, if it is not properly adapted, what happens is it simply grows, doesn't produce any pods or seeds. And this has been happening from the seed sold by state seed corporations. So our input story is very pathetic. I'm sure that we should say that the pulses production is less, but I think we should also say that the poor farmer is not responsible for that, or the technology itself, for that matter, is not responsible for that. There are many other factors. And although I can perhaps deal with so many things, what should be done by the government and so forth, we have had the Secretary Consumer Affairs in the morning here, his deputy, the additional secretary. He was with us at the last conclave we had in Hyderabad, and he advised me that we should put up a small note on action plan for Kharif pulses in particular, so that we can push it through. So by the time next Kharif season comes, we will be in a better position to have more Kharif production. And this plan, when it was taken to the Ministry of Agriculture by another fellow person who could also tomorrow become the Agriculture Secretary, even he was told that, no, we already have so many plans. We don't have time for new plans to be addressed. Let us concentrate and focus on what is wrong with the existing plans so that we correct that anomaly first before we take up any new plans, and this can come in the next 5-year plan or so forth. So I don't know whether the government is really keen on trying to improve, but this is the factual situation. Now what we are doing is perhaps a sample of what should be done. You see, the PPP, or the public-private partnership mode, is one of the best examples of how production has really been shown to be capable of being increased. But in this, what happens is that, again, the government system does not provide for transparency, the selection of the partners, and we as NGOs have faced the situation where the officers don't even hesitate to say that, look, our selection procedure can lead to tremendous problems if we choose one single party, or if we don't choose on the basis of competitiveness, and competitiveness is a very, very undefinable character and so forth. And they just try to get away from the idea. I'm sure that there are certain PPPs being run by the government and very successfully. But I can only illustrate because when we worked with the Madhya Pradesh government, we also ran it very successfully. The Atma program was under PPP mode. We had 6 districts there. And even today we have farmers who call me up for certain seeds that they need. And we have a very good rapport with the farmers that we were able to contact and work with in those 6 districts. But for some reason, I think in Madhya Pradesh also, there were 13 private non-government organizations who were working. Now I am told that only 4 are left, and the others have withdrawn because of the kind of treatment meted out to all those things. But PPP mode is one thing that is of relevance, that is proven, and I think this is in the right form. If it is taken forward, it will deliver results. Second thing is, I was just mentioning Mr. Kakkar, the additional secretary in the Consumer Affairs. We have to be crop specific and situation specific. You see, when we use the general term pulses, it means nothing. When we use the word rice or wheat, it is not cereals. It is rice or wheat, even sorghum for that matter, maize. They are all cereals, but